Rebirth and the Recurrent Round. According to the Buddha. By Tien Kong Tran, Ph.D. Rebirth is often understood as birth after death, or next life. Buddhism believes in rebirth. In numerous popular books about Buddhism, rebirth is understood in that meaning. But if the Buddha talked about suffering and the cessation of suffering here and now or in this life, how could he talk about a rebirth in that meaning? In the perspective of the Dhamma, two aspects of life are ignorance and enlightenment. We can change from ignorance to enlightenment and from enlightenment to ignorance. The Buddha used the term rebirth to indicate the change from enlightenment to ignorance. So, rebirth has a mental or spiritual meaning, not a bodily one. The recurrent round is perpetual wandering on this shore. We continually reach the other shore and then we continually return to this shore. This return is called rebirth. We must know what the Buddha talked about birth in order that we know the meaning of rebirth. And what, bhikkhus, is birth? In whatever beings, of whatever group of beings, there is birth, coming to be, coming forth, the appearance of the aggregates, the acquisition of the sense bases, that is called birth. Birth means coming into existence on this shore. So, enlightenment is going from this shore to the other shore and rebirth is going from the other shore to this shore. To understand the Buddha's thought, we must overcome the conception that for the Buddha rebirth means rebirth after death, even though this might be what people naturally understand by rebirth. When the Buddha said that he would no more be reborn, he wanted to say that he would no more return to this shore, and not that he would not be reborn after death. In the basket of discourses the following sentence is repeated numerous times: birth is exhausted, the holy life has been lived out, what was to be done is done, there is no more rebirth, no more of this to come. The Buddha was enlightened and would not return to ignorance. An ordinary person lives sometimes, one day, 1 month, in ignorance, sometimes, 1 day, 1 month, in enlightenment. He always returns to this shore. So, if a person always lives in ignorance, never, even in 1 minute, in enlightenment, can he be regarded as living in the round of rebirths? Of course, if that is true, he is not subject to rebirth, he is always immersed in the ocean of suffering. However, because the way is always within the heart of each person, it is hard to find a person who is always immersed in the ocean of suffering. But in our time of utmost decadence, it is possible that there are numerous such persons. They are called men of lost conscience. Rebirth goes with recurrent round. The recurrent round is usually understood as the endless round of after birth then death, then birth then death, then birth then death, except when one is liberated from it. Therefore, the recurrent round is also called the round of births and deaths. In most of the popular books on Buddhism, the recurrent round or the round of births and deaths is understood in that meaning. But because the Buddha talked about suffering and the cessation of suffering here and now or in this life, how could he talk about such a recurrent round or round of births and deaths? The same as with rebirth, the recurrent round is the round of lives in ignorance that are endlessly repeated, until enlightenment is attained. The round of births and deaths can be used, with the condition that it does not mean the round of birth then death, then birth then death, and so on, but the round in which there are births and deaths, in contrast to the other shore in which there are no birth and death, the unborn, the deathless. So, what did the Buddha think about such a round of births and deaths? Did he affirm or deny it? We can answer that he neither affirm nor deny it. Why is that? Because he himself did not have the experience of it and he taught only what he knew. What he knew is suffering and the path to the cessation of suffering here and now or in this life. But under the influence of Indian culture, it is possible that he believed in such a recurrent round. Moreover, if the next life is a continuation of this life, A person who lives in ignorance in this life will live in ignorance in the next life, and a person who lives in enlightenment in this life will live in enlightenment in the next life. Therefore, it is the present life that is the center of the recurrent round. In other words, for us, the immersion in the recurrent round or the liberation from it is determined in the present, not in the past or in the future. The recurrent round is usually understood as the round of lives. According to Buddhist cosmology, there are 31 planes, spheres, realms, of existence. The human plane is one of those planes. Below the human planes are 4 planes, asuras, ghosts, animal, hell, and these 4 planes are worse than human 1. Above the human plane are 26 planes, heavenly, celestial, divine, godly, and these 26 planes are better than the human 1. A bad or evil person will be reborn in one of the 4 bad planes or in the human plane with a worse life, for example poor or a slave. A good person will be reborn in one of the 26 good planes or in the human plane with a better life, for example rich or a king. An individual lives in a plane for a period of time, will die and will be born again, until he is enlightened into Nibbana or liberated from the recurrent round. Thus Nibbana is above the highest of the 31 planes. The Buddha reached that Nibbana, and whoever follows him also aims to reach that Nibbana. The recurrent round is, in its true meaning, perpetual wandering. When a person is not enlightened, he wanders endlessly in the 31 planes. If a plane of existence is understood as a life, then the recurrent round is the round of lives. And this is the ordinary meaning. If a plane of existence is understood as a period of time, a second, a minute, a day, a month, a year, then the recurrent round is the round of periods, seconds, minutes, days, months, years. A life can be composed of numerous periods. Confucius said, "Such was Hui that for 3 months there would be nothing in his mind contrary to benevolence." The others may attain to this for a day or a month at the most. In his first sermon setting in the motion the wheel of the Dhamma, the Buddha said, "Unshakable is the liberation of my mind. This is my last birth. Now there is no more renewal of existence, being. The last birth and no more renewal of existence are ordinarily understood in the meaning that after death the Buddha would not be reborn in one of the 31 planes of existence, and he would escape from the recurrent round of rebirths and attain Nibbana. And we, in following his teaching, will after death escape from the recurrent round of rebirths and attain Nibbana. However, the last birth and no more renewal of existence are the last birth and no more renewal of existence, beginning in this life. How can it be so? To answer this question, we should remember what the Buddha taught. As we have said, in Tavakkagata on Fire the Buddha said that he did not teach that 1. He would exist after death, 2. He would not exist after death, 3. He would both exist and not exist after death, and 4. He would neither exist nor not exist after death. In brief, he did not teach rebirth after death. The Buddha said to Anuradha, "Good, good, Anuradha. Formerly, Anuradha, and also now, I make known just suffering and the cessation of suffering. So why, if only teaching suffering and the cessation of suffering, in this life, did he talk about the last birth and no more renewal of existence? If he taught just suffering and the cessation of suffering, the last birth and no more renewal of existence are understood as the last birth and no more renewal of existence in this life. When the Buddha was enlightened, he was on the other shore and did not return to this shore. That is his last birth and no more renewal of existence. In this life there was no more renewal of existence for him, and if he continued in the next life, he would still be on the other shore and would not return to this shore. If the next life is a continuation of this life, indeed there is no rebirth understood in the ordinary meaning, and there is only rebirth understood in the meaning of the Buddha. If a person is not enlightened in this life, he will not be enlightened in the next life, and he will jump from this shore to the other shore and from the other shore to this shore. In a minute, an hour, a day, a month, a year, or in his life, a person can have many rebirths. When he is not enlightened yet, he is in the recurrent round, in this life and, maybe, in the next life. Mind on this shore and mind on the other shore have many levels. This shore can be divided into 4 levels and a half of human level, bad half, and 4 levels below human level. The other shore can be divided into 27 levels and a half of human level, good half, 26 levels above the human level and nibbana. That is expressed according to 31 planes of existence in nibbana, with human plane divided into 2. And because this shore is an ocean of suffering, when one is to return to this shore, he is to experience suffering. This other shore is the shore of enlightenment. So, enlightenment can be temporary or perpetual. Temporary enlightenment is going to the other shore and then returning to this shore. Perpetual enlightenment is going to the other shore and not returning to this shore. Only when one is perpetually enlightened and stays on the other shore, one is completely liberated from suffering and attains to nibbana. Nibbana is supreme and complete enlightenment. When enlightenment is used, it often indicates supreme and complete enlightenment. We hear about stream enterer, once returner and non-returner. A stream enterer is a person who enters the stream of the Noble Eightfold Path and, after having spent at maximum 7 lives in the human plane or heavenly planes, will attain nibbana. A once returner will return to this world once and will attain nibbana. A non-returner is a person who has advanced far in the stream and will attain nibbana without returning to this world. Speaking more easily to understand and less secretly, these are persons who are traveling to the other shore. Some of them will return to this shore several times or once, and some will not return to this shore anymore. The journey to the other shore happens gradually. It requires a lot of learning and effort. There are 31 planes of existence, including several heavenly ones. Heavenly planes are not nibbana yet. Heavenly planes are often understood as places where gods live. However, speaking more easily to understand and less secretly, a heavenly plane indicates a higher level of morality than the human plane. In the same way, the animal plane indicates a lower level of morality than the human plane. The Buddha has attained enlightenment. He has gone to the other shore and will not return to this shore. What has to be done he has done. The holy life he has achieved. There is no more life that he has to enter. There is nothing else he has to do. That is the supreme perfect enlightenment. It exactly is, like it is said in the Gone to the Other Shore Wisdom Sutra, gone to the other shore, landed on the other shore, perfect enlightenment. Thus, to enter nibbana is to enter nibbana in this life. The next life, if there is, and why not, is a continuation of this life. Whoever does not enter nibbana in this life will not enter it in the next life. So not to be reborn to this shore is the last step to be achieved. Indeed, the next life is only a continuation of this life, and if the last step has been achieved, there will be no going to the other shore one more time in the next life. Having entered nibbana like the Buddha, one stops there. That is the reason why the Buddha taught only nibbana in this life.